I call the Township of Aleppo workshop meeting of October 13, 2025 to order at 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
President Jones,
Present.
Vice President Williams,
Present.
Commissioner Haluka. Here. Commissioner Michael.
Here.
Solicitor Jewett.
Present.
This meeting, as all others, will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. Do I hear a motion to approve the September 8, 2025 workshop meeting minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
There is.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Old business. Manager Patterson, would you discuss the Comcast franchise agreement?
Yes, this was brought up last month. It was explained that this is a renewal of an existing franchise agreement, and it has to be adopted by ordinance, so that's why there was a delay in adopting the agreement. It's been advertised, it was advertised for adoption for next week on the 20th. And one of the questions that came up during that was that it showed that there were some new calculations on what kinds of cable services were going to be eligible for the franchise fee. And the solicitor for this agreement said, yes, it does cover more services. However, fewer people are buying cable services these days, so it may end up being more of a break-even proposition than a source of new revenue. So the hope is that with the addition of those new services, we might still be able to collect the same general franchise fees that we have been collecting.
So we need a streaming fee, is what you're saying.
I think Commissioner Michael asked if there were any significant differences. You were going to review it?
Yeah, the main item is just the inclusion of the additional services. So,
And that
again,
was,
yeah.
he explained that it doesn't look like it's gonna be a large revenue increase, maybe we'll just come.
Any further discussion?
Okay, I'll put that on the agenda for next week.
This just might be a good opportunity to try to call out a few things for Commissioner Michael. So certain items can be handled through resolution, which do not require prior advertisement. Others that have to happen by ordinance do have an advertising requirement, so sometimes there's a little bit of a delay in terms of getting something on the agenda.
Okay.
Update on the secretary position?
The interviews are beginning this week. We received a fair number of applications, but a lot of them were through Indeed. And you can kind of tell sometimes when people just have keywords and their resume comes out based on keywords. So I've been able to narrow down to the first batch of candidates, and I'm going to get through those interviews, and if any of those are successful, there'll be a second round of interviews, and then
It's just how many, what?
right now I have 6 scheduled.
Okay.
6
Wow.
interviews scheduled.
Okay,
So we'll see. It is a part-time position, which I know is a bit of a tougher sell for a lot of people. So I won't be surprised if I end up having to go into my the people, I kind of took them in order, read the resumes and then the order I received them. So we'll see, but I'm starting the interview process this week. So.
Good. Next week's legislative meeting will be held at Masonic Village.
So once a year, we try to take a meeting on the road to Masonic Village, and they agreed that they're available on October 20th. So this meeting, the meeting next week will be held over there. It'll be put on the website. It has been, the location change has been advertised. It'll be something on the door that includes directions on how to get there if somebody were to come up to the door and say, oh, I thought the meeting was here. And we're working with Masonic to get the room set up for Dave for the tech stuff. So the goal is to try to be able to broadcast it the way we normally do, even over there.
We've had a good turnout.
And we do have people come to this meeting over there.
Yes, we do.
So, yeah, I've been talking to them about the room setup and the chairs and then Dave's tech stuff, so hopefully it'll go off smoothly.
And Commissioner Williams, being a resident of Masonic Village, why do we get such a good turnout?
Yeah, I can't make it through the dining room without somebody asking a question. I'm going, I don't know yet. I'll see you next week. I promise.
But they ask some good questions.
They do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okey doke.
We got a lot of smart people living over there, they really do. They're amazing.
So come to Masonic next week. The 2024 audit, Gwen and I have reviewed it. Gwen actually asked the auditor maybe 8 or 9 questions, and they're always the routine, basically the various accounting formats they use to do the audit. One's this, one's that. And I think we got good answers back on all the questions. Could you explain like one of the normal differences in the report that we catch?
A lot of times when I'm looking through and reading the text versus some of the numbers at the budget to actual at the back, and the budget to actual is my, main daily focus, because that money in, money out, and that's what I track all through the year. Stuff like depreciation and things like that is less of my focus, that's the auditor's focus. So sometimes in the explanation in the beginning, a number will have wording that gives this number, but then in the back, it's a different number for what I'm looking at, and the answer is always, it's something to do with the way the auditor explains things. It has nothing to do with what I know and what our cash flow is, so it's usually those kind of things where he just clarifies, yes, it means similar things, but also just needs to be reported differently in different places in the audit.
And we had a positive carryover.
We did have a positive carryover, in confirming that number, but they lose 80-some thousand, so.
And that becomes the basis of our budget for 2026.
So we take basically it's like the unspent money from a prior budget, and we roll that over. It's a 2-year lag, because it's a 24 to 26, but that's money that we had earmarked for spending and ended up not spending, and so it does get plugged back into the budget rather than just go to the general fund and sit there. It gets plugged back in to be used, because we'd allocated it to be used. If we didn't happen to use it, we're gonna try again, and sometimes we have things that we budget for and weren't able to accomplish, so we just budget for them again, and that's where that money carries back over.
Any other questions? Rhodes Avenue update.
So I have a couple things on that. So we have the grant update,
Could you start at the beginning of the grant?
Sure. Last year, like a full year ago, the township applied for a grant to help remediate the section of road that had been sliding. It started to slide faster than we were able to find out about the grant, so the commissioners voted to proceed with an emergency repair to make sure the road could remain open for the residents. So we are spending township funds to correct that section of road. Subsequent to that, we did get awarded a grant for $100,000 for work on Rhodes Avenue. You can't apply a grant award to something that you already did, so we went to Allegheny County and asked to revise the scope of the grant that we were awarded so that we could do other things on Rhodes Avenue that need attention. They approved that, so we put out a bid for the length of the guide rail. We have old guide rails down there, and it is a steeper slope on the left side of Rhodes Avenue. So they approved the change in the grant, so we are going to be replacing the guide rail along the length of it. The bids were opened, the COG is handling this, and the bids were opened by the COG for the guide rail replacement, and they came in at $60-some thousand, it's in here, a very good number. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to make sure that we can do the whole road, because we weren't sure, we might have to leave sections out depending on the bid. And then some of the engineering costs and the inspection costs might be able to be covered by the grant as well. So it was good news for the grant update. Next week, you'll have a motion on your agenda to accept the bid from the contractor to approve that part of the grant. Is that good for that one?
Yep.
Okay. For the second part of Rhodes Avenue is the emergency repair work that was done this year. We had 2 contractors. We had the main wall bracing contractor, and then we had a different contractor, Stefanik, who did a lot of the site prep and the hauling of the dirt and fixing the road and things like that. The slide stuff has a couple punch list items, so that contractor, that pay request hasn't come in yet. Engineers are still working on getting that sorted out. But the site prep contractor, their part of the job is complete. So we just got today the pay request for that, so that will also be on your agenda next week to approve the payment for that one contractor. The other one, I'm thinking it'll probably come in November.
Are they at or below budget?
Right at, so that site prep contractor was right at budget, so yes.
Good.
Yep, so that'll be on for next week. So that's, you have two different HRG letters in your packet, both related to Rhodes Avenue, but slightly different topics. But they'll be on for
So
next
will
week.
that wrap up the work on Rhodes Avenue?
It should, once they finish remediating the little bit, just cleaning up some of
Yeah.
the work that was done,
I mean, major work.
we cross our fingers.
Yeah, I know.
But yes, it will fix the current situation there, and with the improved guide rail, that's also a very good safety
All right,
fix.
thank you.
New business, the 2026 budget update. As background, the current finance committee is Commissioner Haluka, Commissioner Jones, and Manager Patterson. Anybody that wants to participate is welcome. It's 80% boilerplate, but there are some other significant decisions to be made. So Gwen is going to do a rough draft soon.
Yeah, what I do is a draft, because I have to wait for some of the numbers that come in, some of the boilerplate numbers. I know that I have to wait for this insurance number to come in, I wait for it to come in, plug it in. So I do a first draft, then take it to the committee, and a lot of times the first draft doesn't balance, but I give it to you anyway, because that's where some of the decisions have to be made. And then we work through some of that stuff in order to decide what's left or what we need to cut or increase or reallocate, and then the full draft that will balance, and I hope to get by the November workshop.
Good.
And then we schedule for
Has to be
adoption
at-
in December. It has to be
It has to
adopted by
be-
ordinance also.
Yep, and there's an extra advertising requirement, so we have to put that out a few days in advance. I will just clarify, if you do want to add a third commissioner to that
I'm sitting here
committee.
thinking that's a problem.
Yes, if you do want to add a third commissioner, you will have to advertise.
Sunshine.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So that will push you into a quorum, so you would advertise those special meetings, which is perfectly fine, but we just want to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I was
if
sitting here
that's
thinking
something.
that when you said that, I was like,
Yes. That takes you
I
into the
think-
magic number.
George?
We can meet two at a time.
You certainly can meet two at a time.
But I think what my real intent is, we'll reorganize after the first of the year. We'll reorganize all the committees. Right?
Yes, sir.
Give Gwen a break. Okay, Halloween trick or treating.
Several years ago, the commissioners voted to just have it be set at October 31st from 6 to 8 unless they needed to change for some reason. Because every year, the tradition in these communities around here is that people decided when it was once a year, and that's different. So, I think, trick or treating should be on Halloween. So, a couple years ago, the commissioners agreed and decided that, October 31st from 6 to 8 is the standard time, and it's nice when all the communities kind of do it at the same time. So that's the date this year. So it's Friday the 31st from 6 to 8.
Is that also Smithland? Do you know?
I don't know. It's in the Herald. They call and ask, I give them our date, so hopefully,
I was just curious, because that one's there to come up.
yeah.
Have we had any citizen communications? One? No?
You tell me, I don't know what it is, I'm forgetting.
Automobiles?
I think that it may be an item, if you would like to discuss it, we can discuss it in executive session.
Thank you. Any other communications? I don't think we need to discuss it.
I do not believe an executive session is needed at this time. To the extent one is required for your next meeting, I will let Gwen know to make sure that you're all prepared timing-wise.
Thank you.
All right.
Any other new business?
No, sir.
Therefore, we are adjourned.